Hi babes, and welcome back to another episode of Glowfully. I know how full life can feel, and I never take for granted that you choose to spend some of your time here with me, so thank you for being here. My goal is always to make sure that when you finish an episode, you walk away feeling a little lighter, a little clearer, and a little more connected to yourself. I think sometimes when we talk about health and wellness, it feels overwhelming, like you have to do everything at once to get it right. But Glowfully is about stripping that pressure away. It's about asking, what small, real things can I do that shift the way I feel today? And sometimes those little shifts, a breath, a walk outside, a meal that nourishes, they change more than we expect. So this week, we're exploring topics that all connect back to stress, balance, and the simple ways we can support ourselves. From the power of breathwork to how nature grounds us, to the hidden ways stress impacts our hormones, and finally, the foods that actually fuel calm. These aren't just separate conversations. They're threads that weave together into a picture of whole body wellness. And by the end of this episode, I want you to feel not only informed, but also supported, like you've got a toolkit you can actually reach for in real life. So settle in, whether you're listening on your commute, out for a walk, or curled up at home, this time is for you. So before we begin and we add anything complicated, let's start with what's already in your hands, your breath. It's the fastest way to tell your body you're safe, and it doesn't require a perfect setting or a 60-minute window. If you're listening on the go, you can try these patterns with me as we talk. Let's begin there. Simple breath work that resets your state in real time. Breathing is the first thing you did when you entered this world, and it will be the very last thing you do when you leave. It's with you in every single moment of your life, and yet so many of us don't realise that the way we breathe, the pace, the depth, the rhythm, has a huge impact on how we feel in our mind, in our body, and even in our soul. I think that's kind of incredible because it means we already carry within us a healing tool that can actually help us and we can access anytime, anywhere for free. We don't need fancy equipment or a wellness subscription to tap into it. It's always right there, waiting for us. So today we're going to talk about the power of breathwork, what it actually does for you, why it's so effective, and some simple practices that can help you right away. I'll be breaking down the science of how your breath influences your nervous system and your hormones, and we'll explore the holistic side of how breathwork connects you to your inner self. And then I'll walk you through 3 practices that are beginner-friendly, practical, and deeply calming. So, if you've ever felt anxious and wished you had a tool to bring you back down, or if you've struggled to fall asleep, or even if you just wanted a way to feel more grounded in your day, this episode is for you. So let's start with the basics. Why does breath matter so much? Most of us breathe without thinking, but the truth is, not all breathing is equal. When we're stressed, our breathing becomes shallow and fast. We tend to breathe high up in our chest instead of deeply down in our belly. So here's the thing. Your brain reads that shallow breathing as a signal that you're in danger. So even if you're just sitting at your desk stressing over emails, your body is responding as if there's a lion chasing you. Your heart rate goes up, cortisol rises, and you get stuck in fight or flight mode. Now, the opposite is also true. So when you slow your breathing down and deepen it, when you let your exhale become longer than your inhale, you're sending a very different message to your body. You're telling it, I'm safe, I can relax now. And that signal runs through your vagus nerve, which is like the communication highway between your brain and your body. Activating the vagus nerve helps you shift into your parasympathetic nervous system. That's the part of you that handles rest, digestion, hormone balance, and healing. So in that sense, breath is like a switch. Shallow, fast breathing flips you into stress mode, while slow, conscious breathing flips you into calm. And that's why breathwork can feel so powerful so quickly, because you're literally changing your body's state in real time. Now, let's talk about how this impacts you more holistically, because yes, the science is fascinating, but I also want you to feel how this plays out in your everyday life. So for your mind, breathwork is like a reset button. When your thoughts are racing or you're stuck in overthinking, deep breathing brings oxygen back to the brain and calms activity in the amygdala. That's the part of your brain responsible for fear and stress. So you're not just thinking more clearly, you're also feeling less reactive. You're giving yourself that little pause where you can choose how to respond instead of spiraling into overwhelm. And for your body, your breath is tied to almost everything. Your heart rate, your blood pressure, your hormones, your digestion. When you regulate your breathing, you regulate your whole system. Cortisol drops, which means your blood sugar steadies. Digestion improves, and your immune system gets a boost instead of being suppressed by constant stress. Breath is like nourishment for your body's rhythm. And then finally, for your soul, breathwork is about presence. Think about it. Your breath only exists in the now. You can't breathe yesterday's breath and you can't breathe tomorrow's. So when you come back to your breath, you are, in a really beautiful way, coming back to yourself. That's why so many spiritual traditions, from yoga to meditation to prayer, all come back to breath. It's the simplest, most profound way of anchoring yourself in the present moment. So when we talk about breathwork, healing the mind, body and soul, it's not just a nice idea. It's very, very real. It's a psychological shift. It's a mental reset. And it's a soul level reconnection. Now, let's get into the practices. I want to share 3 simple ones with you. Each of these has a slightly different effect, so you can choose based on what you need. The first one is box breathing. Now imagine drawing a square with your breath. You inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and hold again for a count of 4. And you just keep repeating. This practice is amazing for calming stress in the moment. It balances your nervous system and brings your heart rate back to baseline. It's actually used by Navy SEALs to stay calm under pressure, which just shows you how powerful it is. And when you do box breathing, notice how it gives structure to your breath. That sense of rhythm can feel very grounding for your mind, and your body responds to that regular pattern with calm and steadiness. Next up is the 4-7-8 breath. This one's particularly helpful if you struggle with anxiety or sleep. You inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. The long exhale here is the magic. It signals your body that it's safe to deeply relax. When I've done this before bed, I can actually feel my heart rate slowing down. It's like your whole body gets the memo. Okay, it's time to rest now. So if you're someone who lies awake at night, replaying the day or worrying about tomorrow, try this. It's gentle but so effective. And the third practice is alternate nostril breathing. This one's all about balance. You gently close one nostril with your finger. Inhale through the other, then switch and exhale. Then you inhale through the same side, switch again and exhale, and you keep alternating. It sounds complicated, but once you get into the rhythm, it feels very natural. This technique is wonderful if your mind feels foggy or if you're feeling scattered. It balances the left and right hemispheres of the brain, which helps with clarity, focus, and emotional steadiness. Holistically, it's like bringing yourself back into alignment. Now, you might be wondering, when do I actually do this? And do I need to set aside half an hour a day? And the answer is not at all. Breath work, even in small doses, works amazing. 2 minutes before a meeting, 5 minutes before bed, a few rounds while sitting in your car or walking outside. Anything is fine. I always encourage starting small because that's how you build it into your life. You don't need a cushion or a ritual, you just need awareness. So if your mind feels scattered, try box breathing. If your body feels wired but tired, try 4-7-8 before bed. And if your soul feels unsettled, try alternate nostril breathing to create balance. And if you really want to go deeper, you can pair breathwork with journaling or meditation. If you check out my last episode of Glowfully, we break those down and make them beginner friendly. So, for example, meditate first to quiet your mind, then journal what comes up. Or journal first to release emotions, then use breathwork to settle your nervous system. These practices weave together beautifully. So let's wrap this up with a reminder. Your breath is the most accessible healing tool you have. It costs nothing and it's always with you, and it can shift how you feel in an instant. So when you take a moment to consciously breathe, you're not just helping your body, you're lowering stress hormones, supporting sleep, balancing your system, but you are also calming your mind and reconnecting with your soul. That is the real power of breathwork. It heals you holistically and it brings you back to yourself. So next time you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or scattered, instead of reaching for your phone or pushing through, just pause, take a breath and notice what happens. So, you'll feel how breath softens your inner weather. Now, let's step into the outer weather. Nature amplifies everything breathwork gives us. Light for your body clocks, colour and sound for your nervous system, and that grounded feeling of belonging. If breath is the dial, time outdoors is a steady hand that keeps you in rhythm. So before we dive in, do me a tiny favour. Glance outside. Notice the colour of the sky today, the way the light sits on the pavement, that little swish of leaves you only notice when you slow down. Our bodies thrive on this. Light, fresh air, real world sounds, but most days we get more notifications than daylight. And then we wonder why we feel flat, foggy, or restless. So today we're going to talk about nature as medicine, and not in a gimmicky go hug a tree way, although I would definitely recommend that, but in a grounded, real life way. What actually changes when you step outside? Why a 20-minute walk among trees can melt stress and lower cortisol? And why morning daylight is like a gentle reset button for your sleep and mood. How plants, soil, and even the air outside quietly supports your body, and of course, the soul piece, the calm, expansive feeling of being part of something bigger than your inbox. So by the end of this section, I want you to walk away with two things. A deeper why, so time outside becomes a non-negotiable pillar for your wellness. Practical ways to weave nature into your life. Whether you've got a forest at your doorstep, a balcony with one plant, or just a patch of sky to look at. So before we begin, take a breath, soften your shoulders, and let's step outside together. So here's the truth. Your body was never built for fluorescent bulbs and hours indoors. It evolved under sunlight. In the mornings, outdoor light tells your brain, we're awake now. That message sets off a chain reaction. Daytime energy rises gently and your body temperature shifts. And the countdown for the evening sleep begins. It's a very clever system. So if you skip that light cue, your system drifts. You can feel wired at the wrong times, need caffeine to get going, and struggle to switch off at night. Even 5 minutes of real light on your doorstep, on the walk to the bus, or just standing by an open window can reset your system. It doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be regular. And yes, there's the vitamin D piece too. So beyond bone health, vitamin D touches mood, immunity, and hormones. Safe small doses of sun exposure, especially in the gentler mornings or late afternoon light, help your body make it. So on darker days or even in winter, food or supplements may help to fill that gap. But the point is, your body expects light, and giving it that gift changes how you feel. So, what does your nervous system do when you touch grass? Literally. You know that moment when you walk into a park after a chaotic morning and your shoulders drop before you even realise it? That is your nervous system shifting gears. Busy, overstimulating environments keep your body in fight or flight. Nature dials you back into rest and digest, the mode where you actually heal, sleep, and digest food properly. The effects are measurable. Cortisol drops, blood pressure softens, heart rhythms become steadier. So in Japan, forest bathing is a whole practice based on this. And studies consistently show it lowers stress and boosts mood. Plants even release fragrant compounds that seem to nudge our immune system towards balance. That's wild when you think about it. You standing under trees, your body breathing in their chemistry, your immune system quietly tuning itself. It's not woo-woo, it's biology. And then there's the microbes in soil, the tiny old friends our immune systems recognise when we garden, walk barefoot, or even just sit in the grass. Living near living things literally keeps our biology calmer. One of my favourite findings is that nature lowers rumination. That mental loop of negative thoughts that we can't switch off. So in green spaces, the brain rests differently. Instead of being pulled in 100 different directions, emails, traffic, deadlines, it gets to rest on what researchers call soft fascination. Like watching cloud shifts or leaves move in the breeze, your mind finds focus without force, and that's why you often come back from a walk clearer and more creative. And then there's those little moments when you see a huge sky or a beam of sunlight through the clouds and you feel smaller but in the best way. Reliably lowers self-focus, softens anxiety, and leaves you feeling connected to something beyond yourself. It doesn't have to be the Grand Canyon. It can be a tiny mushroom on your walk, or the colours of a sunset out of your window. I know there's many a times I've looked out my window, seen a beautiful sunset and sat there in awe. Nature has a way of pulling you out of your head and reminding you life is bigger than your to-do list. But anyway, here's where it all connects. Morning light steadies your cortisol rhythm, which helps you feel alert when you need to be and sleepy when you're supposed to be. That steadier rhythm also helps balance blood sugar, digestion, and even cycle hormones. So if you have a cycle, you may notice nature feels different depending on the phase. Your follicular phase, you might crave longer, more energetic walks. Your luteal phase, gentle strolls, sitting under a tree, or stretching outdoors can feel like medicine. Your menstrual phase, sometimes just opening a window for fresh air is enough. And for menopause or perimenopause, nature gives multiple wins. So walking supports bone health, light exposure steadies sleep, and regular outdoors movement calms hot flushes and mood swings. Even your digestion shifts. When your nervous system calms outdoors, your gut works better too. So nature isn't just nice to have. It's hormone support, sleep support, digestion support, all rolled into one. And here's the piece that's harder to measure but just as real. Nature restores a sense of belonging. Indoors, it's easy to feel like life is just emails, laundry and stress, but outside you see seasons shifting, birds returning, trees cycling through silence and bloom. That rhythm reminds you that you're part of something steady and enduring. It doesn't ask anything from you. It doesn't demand anything from you. Nature doesn't care if you're productive, successful, or doing it right. It just holds you exactly as you are. That unconditional presence softens self-criticism in a way little else can. And when grief shows up, whether personal or collective, nature holds that too. A rainy walk can carry grief in a way a sofa can't. Under a big sky, you're not broken, you're human, and you're not alone. So here are some grounding practices you can actually do. This is where it gets practical. Because nature isn't just forests and hikes. It's the breeze on your face while you're waiting for the bus. It's the herbs on your windowsill, 3 breaths at an open window, eating lunch outside. It's small and regular beats that are big and rare every time. So some easy starting points. 1 is morning light. Step outside for 2 minutes before looking at your phone. Why not have a midday anchor? So eat lunch outdoors or take a short walk. And in the evening, why not have an evening wind down? Open a window, step outside or stroll after dinner to signal to your body that the day is closing. Why not also try forest bathing? Slow walks, no headphones, just noticing sound, colour, scent and texture. You could even try an indoor nature ritual. So play bird songs, keep plants near your desk and sip tea by an open window. The principle isn't perfect nature time. It's little and often. That's what changes your nervous system. So right now we are in autumn, and autumn is basically an invitation to ground yourself. Autumn is a gorgeous time to start doing this if you are not already. While summer energy is high and bright, autumn whispers slow down, gather yourself. Crisp air, shorter days, warm foods, it's all aligned with the body's natural pull inward. Morning light steadies your rhythm. Twilight walks help melatonin rise, and seasonal foods and scents create a cozy loop of safety and calm. So when you sync with the seasons, autumn becomes less exhausting and more restorative. I just want to circle back to the women's health specifics. So cycles, perimenopause, pregnancy and postpartum. Nature supports every stage differently. For PMS, outdoor time soothes stress axis and softens irritability, while for perimenopause, walking and light exposure supports bones, sleep and mood. For pregnancy, gentle nature walks can reduce anxiety, and for postpartum, even 10 minutes of fresh air can feel like oxygen for your soul. So while nature doesn't erase challenges, it does co-regulate your body and it meets you where you are. So if there's one takeaway, it's this. Small, consistent doses of nature beat rare, dramatic outings. 2 minutes of morning light, 3 breaths at an open window, a lap around the block. These are sacred. Your nervous system thrives on regular signals, not occasional fireworks. And if life gets busy or messy, it's not failure. Nature will be there when you return, like an old friend. Compassion, consistency matter more than perfection. I want you to picture this. You step outside for 2 minutes before your phone. You feel the air, let your eyes drink in the light. At lunch, you eat on a bench and watch the clouds. After dinner, you walk a small loop, slow enough to notice a tree you've never really seen. Over time, your mind trusts this rhythm. Your body sleeps deeper and your heart softens. So nature isn't a luxury add-on. It's the backdrop your body has always expected. So when you come back inside, life is still life. Deadlines, messages, mental load. That's where stress chemistry quietly reshapes our hormones and energy. No shame, just clarity. Let's start with stress because honestly, it touches everything. Think of your body's stress response as a built-in alarm system. And here's the thing, it doesn't know the difference between real danger and everyday pressures. So, whether you're dealing with an exploding inbox, rushing to care for family, stressing about bills, lying awake doom scrolling, or even pushing your body too hard in the gym on too little sleep, Your alarm system reacts the same way. So here's how it works. Your brain sends a quick SOS to your adrenal glands. In response, your body fires up two main messengers. First comes adrenaline, that instant jolt that makes your heart race, sharpens your focus, and gives you a burst of energy. And then comes cortisol, which sticks around longer, acting as a steady fuel source to help you cope. For short-term stress, this is amazing. It's literally what happens to help you rise to a challenge or get through a tough day. But when the stress never switches off, that's when the cracks start to show. Your cortisol rhythm, which is supposed to be like a gentle wave across the day, gets disrupted. Normally, cortisol peaks in the morning to help you wake up, and then gradually tapers down so you feel calm and ready for bed at night. But under chronic stress, this rhythm can flatten, spike, or even flip upside down. Suddenly, you're wide but tired at midnight, foggy in the morning, or wide awake at 3 a.m. with a mind racing. It's so easy to feel like your body is failing you, but it's not failing. It's adapting to survive in the environment it thinks you're living in. And that reframing alone can take away so much shame. I know when I first learned that, I had a real moment with myself where I was so grateful that my body was doing what it could to help, what it thought it needed to do to help me. So now let's talk about the ripple effect, because stress doesn't stay neatly in one box. It spills over into other hormonal systems. Your reproductive hormones, your thyroid, even your blood sugar, all listen to cortisol. Biology always tries to prioritize survival. So when stress is running the show, the signals for things like ovulation or healthy cycle rhythms can be disrupted. Take progesterone, for example, that calming, steady hormone that dominates the second half of your cycle. It's like the nature's built-in chill pill, but progesterone is incredibly sensitive to stress. If ovulation is weaker or delayed, progesterone might dip, and that can leave you feeling more anxious, sleeping more lightly, or waking on emotional thin ice before your period. Estrogen can swing higher or lower depending on the month, which might show up as mood changes, heavier or lighter bleeds, or sore breasts. Testosterone can shift too, often tied to blood sugar swings, so you might feel daytime fatigue but restless at night, or notice your skin breaking out more easily. And speaking of metabolism, stress really changes the way your body uses fuel. When cortisol is high, your body pumps glucose into the bloodstream to give you quick energy. That's great if you're running from a tiger, but not in modern life. It can make your blood sugar yo-yo. Added irregular meals, too much caffeine, or quick processed snacks, and you get bigger spikes and dips. That leaves you jittery, craving sugar, and then crashing again. And the cycle repeats. And the body reads every crash as another form of stress, so you end up in a loop. And then there's your skin, which is often the first place to tell the story. Elevated cortisol can increase oil activity and weaken your skin barrier. That means irritation, breakouts, or dullness show up more easily, even if you're being diligent with your routine. Over time, stress chemistry can also accelerate collagen breakdown, which affects firmness and smoothness. So if your skin feels more reactive, looks tired, or flares up during stressful seasons, it's not just bad skin. That's your body waving a flag. So some common everyday signs that stress and hormones are intertwined. Feeling wired but exhausted at night. Waking up at 3 or 4 a.m. with a racing mind. Depending on sugar and caffeine just to get through the day. PMS that feels harsher than usual. Breakouts along your jawline or cheeks. Hair shedding after a rough patch. or just feeling like tiny things tip you over the edge. You don't need every symptom for stress to be part of your picture. Even one or two are enough to pause and give yourself compassion. What I want you to really hear is this: your body isn't broken, it's responsive. It's adapting to the signals it's getting. And the good news is, that means you can send it new signals. Small, repeatable cues of safety, nourishment, and rest slowly reset the system. You don't need perfection, and you don't need an overhaul overnight. But with consistency, your body will recalibrate. And because your body feels stress biochemically, your plate can be a powerful message of safety. Think magnesium, protein, fiber, and gentle rituals that steady blood sugar and soothe your nervous system. So let's make food the teammate that helps your hormones find their balance again. When we think of stress relief, most of us go straight to the classics. Meditation, yoga, a long walk, maybe a hot bath. And those absolutely help. But there's something we often forget. The food on your plate is talking to your body all day long. It's not just fuel, it's feedback. And in stressful seasons, those little signals really add up. This isn't about eating clean or cutting out your favourite treats. It's about noticing how what you eat shapes how you feel. A steady, nourishing plate can leave you calmer, clearer, and more resilient. A chaotic day of caffeine, sugar, and skipped meals, that's like handing your body a loudspeaker that says, "Stay on high alert." So, picture this. You wake up tired, reach for your coffee before breakfast, rush through the morning on adrenaline, and by lunchtime you're starving. You grab something quick and carb heavy. It gives you a lift, but an hour later you feel foggy, craving more sugar, and feeling like that, you've got nothing left in the tank. Then you push through with another coffee, and by evening you're wired but exhausted. Sound familiar? That's not you lacking willpower. That's your body trying to cope with the chemistry of stress and food choices layered together. And trust me, I've been there. I did that for years. It's not fun. But on the flip side, when you give yourself steadier meals, a bit of protein, some healthy fats, fiber and colour, your body hears we're safe, we're nourished, we can dial stress down a notch. It's less about perfection and more about sending those steady safety signals on repeat. So let's talk about the quiet helpers you can lean on. Magnesium foods are the calm mineral. Think of magnesium as nature's built-in relaxer. It helps your muscles release tension and supports deeper sleep. Stress uses it up quickly, so topping up really matters. You can do this by adding in a handful of almonds or cashews, pumpkin seeds on porridge, dark chocolate after lunch, or beans in soups or salads. Next up, we have vitamin C, your stress sidekick vitamin. So your adrenal glands, the ones that handle stress chemistry, need vitamin C to work properly. So when stress is higher, your body leans on it even more. You can do this by adding in citrus fruits with breakfast, peppers chopped into wraps, a handful of strawberries or kiwi as a snack, and broccoli with dinner. Next, we have one that is talked about quite often, and that is omega-3s. Mood and inflammation support. These healthy fats keep mood steadier and inflammation lower, both of which help you feel more grounded. Think salmon or mackerel a couple of times a week, chai pudding, flax sprinkled in smoothies, or walnuts as a quick snack. Now, me personally, I don't really like fish, so I do take omega-3 supplements, and since I started taking those, my health has drastically improved. Next up, we have protein, and that is the anchor. Skipping protein is one of the fastest ways to make stress feel heavier. Without it, blood sugar wobbles, cravings get stronger, and your body leans harder on cortisol. So why not add in eggs with toast instead of plain toast, Greek yogurt with fruit, lentil soup, chicken or tofu in salads. And then finally, we have calming rituals in a cup. Sometimes it's not just the nutrients, it's the pause. Herbal teas, chamomile, peppermint, green tea for calm and focus, or even warm milk with cinnamon would be lovely. It's the act of slowing down to sip that tells your body it's okay to relax. So none of this is about banning foods, but it does help to know what might make stress worse when you've already feeling overloaded. Too much caffeine, especially on an empty stomach, because it can spike cortisol and leave you feeling jittery. Sugary snacks are a quick lift and quick crash, which just pulls stress hormones back into the loop. And finally, alcohol late at night. It might feel relaxing, but it tends to raise nighttime cortisol and cut into deep sleep. Don't think of these as bad, but think of them as things to watch with curiosity and ask yourself, is this helping me feel steady or making me feel more wired and drained? So the last thing I want is for food to feel like another source of pressure. The goal isn't to overhaul your diet overnight. It's to weave in little anchors that support you through the day. So why not start with breakfast? A slice of toast on its own leaves you vulnerable to crashes. Add eggs, nut butter or yogurt. Think add-ons, not takeaways. Add a handful of greens to your pasta, beans in your salad, seeds on top of your oats. These tiny boosts make a real difference over time. And you don't need to cut out snacks entirely. Snack smarter. So instead of crisps when you're starving, try roasted chickpeas, nuts with fruit, or yogurts with berries. They'll keep you satisfied longer. And of course, you can have the nice snacks, the cheeky snacks every now and then. You don't have to cut them out entirely. If you are making swaps, make swaps with intention. If you're on your third coffee and feeling edgy, try green tea for calm focus. At night, switch the scroll and snack ritual for herbal tea and something grounding like journaling, reading or sketching. And why not make it sensory? A colourful plate, the smell of citrus, the warmth of tea, these aren't trivial. Your senses are part of how your nervous system calms down. So food is like the background track to your day. When it's steady and nourishing, your stress systems can quiet down. When it's chaotic, your body struggles to find rhythm and stress feels louder. And here's the thing, it's not about eating perfectly. What is perfect? It's different for everyone, right? Even one supportive choice at each meal tells your body you're okay. So listen to what your body needs. And that single signal can ripple out into calmer energy, better sleep, and steadier moods. So, instead of stressing about food rules, try asking yourself one gentle question. What can I add today that makes me feel steadier? It might be pumpkin seeds sprinkled on breakfast, salmon for dinner, a handful of berries mid-afternoon, or a calming cup of chamomile tea before bed. But tiny shifts repeated often, like we said earlier, are where the real magic happens. So let's take a moment to tie everything we've been through together. We started with the breath, the most simple, accessible tool we all carry. Just a few slow, intentional breaths can switch your body from stress mode into calm, softening your edges and giving you a little more space to choose how you respond. Then we stepped outside and remembered what it feels like to belong in the world around us. Light on your skin, wind in your hair, a patch of sky, or a walk in the park. Nature isn't just nice to have. It's part of how your body was designed to reset. From there, we looked at stress and hormones, not as something to fear, but as a reminder that your body is responsive, not broken. And when life piles up, your hormones, your sleep, even your skin can feel it. But with small, steady signals of safety, your body knows how to find its rhythm again. And finally, food. Not as pressure or perfection, but as quiet daily messages you send to your body. You're supported, you're nourished, you're safe. Simple shifts like adding protein, magnesium-rich snacks, or calming teas really can make stress feel less sharp. And the golden thread running through all of this is that none of these practices exist in isolation. Your breath, your time outdoors, your hormone balance, and the way you eat all talk to each other. When you gently support one, you make it easier for the others to fall into place. And the best part? You don't need to do it all at once. You just need to start where you are, with one breath, one moment of sunlight, one calmer meal. Over time, these small signals add up, and suddenly you're not forcing wellness, you're living it. So if you're already feeling the urge to pick one tiny change, beautiful, that's the point. 3 slow breaths before you open a message, stepping outside for the first sip of your morning drink, adding a handful of nuts or seeds to your plate, that's it. If you want more support, you can read all of our blogs on this topic over on Substack or www.byaleora.com. You can go back to these anytime. And while you're there, why not join our community of Aleora babes at byaleora.substack.com for exclusive wellness tips and support. And make sure you're subscribed to Glowfully on Spotify or Apple, YouTube or our website so new episodes arrive just for you. If this helped, a quick rating or sharing it with a friend truly helps more women find this calm corner of the internet, and I'm so grateful when you do. Take one more deep breath with me, soften your shoulders and carry that softness into the rest of your day. I'll see you next time.